The latest to come out of the States is from a Cornell University professor. Cornell is an Ivy League school, and what this professor, Russell Rickford, has to say has to be heard to be believed. This guy gives our Greens and Teal Member of Parliament a run for their money. Listen to the absolute bile coming out of this man's mouth.
It was exhilarating. It was energizing.
He continues to say this, how exhilarating it was, how energizing it was, and trying to turn it into a narrative around a power structure being usurped at last. Once again, I feel like I'm losing my mind the amount of times I say this. These people have absolutely no idea of their history whatsoever. Israel has always been Israel. It was always the homeland of the Jews. They never left it. Yeah. They were driven out of it perpetually. And then we had this whole utter nonsense where the UN was given charge of like, well, you sort out the whole Israel-Palestine thing. It's really gone to crap. You guys come up with it. Churchill actually came up with the two-state solution. Not your best work, buddy. And we still have this raging to this day. But the very idea that these people think that they're... And I think it plays into the whole Marxist, socialist ideals that are so alive in these universities, especially the Ivy League schools, that, oh, you know, we've got to topple the power structures, etc., and so on. And they've actually been taught that that is Israel, and therefore they should cheer if they see Israel, the Jews, suffering in any way.
It's ironic, isn't it? We started the show with Waleed Ali talking about the virtues of, tertiary education, and now we listen to an Ivy League professor talk like that. We're going to get to a situation, if we're not there already, Caleb, where having an Ivy League degree on your resume is actually a disadvantage when seeking work. It should be a big red flag, moron approaching.
It's a sign of mental deficiency, indeed. And it's as simple as... Israel is a symbol of the West, and all of these people hate the West. They're self-loathing, right? And so standing up against Israel is to stand up against the West. Now, none of these people, as we've talked about before, particularly when you see they were getting around at Sydney University with signs saying, queers for Palestine. I mean, none of these people would last 5 minutes under Hamas rule. They would not last 5 minutes in Palestine. But they see it as a fight against the West and the virtues of the West. And if that means they stand with Islamist terrorists who would cut their heads off in 5 minutes flat, they don't particularly care. You know why? Because they live in the West, where it's really comfortable and you can say that kind of thing.